It was a busy day yesterday. Yeah, I think I haven't even managed to use even a tenth of the kind of material that Tom very kindly sent up. So yeah, this is kind of the end product for the stainless steel part. I know it doesn't seem like much, but when I show you underneath the car, you know, the contours and the space that you have available underneath the 350Z is super tight and also super complex. You know, and only having kind of a mixture of 45s and 90 degrees and stuff like that, and only just being able to slightly sort of bend the metal in places makes it particularly difficult. So I'm going to be using this stuff in the place where it's probably most sort of dangerous from getting hit off the ground and also being super proximity to the exhaust system. The rest of the time I'll be using the AN16 braided hose that Thomas sent up. So what I'm going to do is I'll get underneath there now, sling this stuff on, try and get some light under there so I can then show you kind of the problems that it had, and yeah, then show you sort of what I've been up to with the AN16 line. So I'm laid under the cart now, and you can see the two stainless lines under here. So this big aluminium piece that I've got my finger on here, this is the transmission mount, and there isn't really that much space under here for the lines. So you can see now how I've hooked them on to the two braided AN16 lines. Probably thinking why I just didn't do that all the way through, but you know, you can see by how low this is now to the car here that, you know, these are going to be subject to impact. You know, I didn't want the coolant lines inside the car like we had last year, you know, just for a bit of additional safety. Also, the exhaust is going to be running down this section here and then kick it in for the new Y section that Jason Clark's going to make for me. So yeah, trying to make sure we had as much protection around there as possible. We'll then get some of the DEI heat shielding stuff over these lines. The kit also comes with these funky 3D printed pipe clamps. Some have captivated nuts, some don't, but that makes the actual installation of the pipes nice and sort of straightforward and simple. Keeps them well spaced and gives them a 3 or 4 mil gap from the material you're trying to stand them off. And then they also fit the braided lines as well, which you can now see obviously, yeah, running all the way through round here, past the radium cell, plenty of clearance around where the prop is going to go, and then it disappears around that side and goes off to where the cooler pack is going to be. So yeah, my next job now, I know it's gone dark, I'm going to use my very undignified method of crawling out from underneath this car and go and modify the cooler pack itself to take the AN16 fittings. Okay, so back into the light, you can actually see now where these pumps are coming out. Oop, just dropped one there. So this is the one that's going to come out lower hose. Davies Craig is going to pump, the pump is going to plug straight into that one, then join onto the one I just dropped. That one will go horizontally across and onto an AN16 fitting, which will be welded onto the radiator this afternoon. And round on this side, yeah, top hose. See, I've actually got the AN fitting actually in that one now, but yeah, that one nicely fits in here. So I'll cut a bit of this hose barb off, and then weld that fitting into there. And then the cooler pack is kind of getting into a position where that one's almost done. Just got to work on the engine end. So also, whilst I've been doing the cooler pack stuff, started to make the braided lines up for the radium cell. So yeah, AN8 and AN6 lines going into bulkhead fitting. And then underneath we're going to be having a couple of hard lines like we have done with the cooler pack. Let's see if I can get this to work. So yeah, hopefully you can just see the edge of those lines there. Luckily, with those being like super fine and super thin, there's just enough space to make sure they aren't the lowest part of the car, you know, when we're out on track, to make sure obviously they don't get damaged. Going to change that cap head bolt just there, so then again that isn't going to be the lowest thing that will be out on track. The last thing I want to do is get caught on a curb or in the gravel and it rips the fuel lines off. So yeah, trying to make sure everything's safe and thought out as much as possible. But yeah, long road ahead yet for this stuff. But yeah, can't thank Tom enough for sending me up all these bits and pieces. I think the list is going to be long for what's needed left, but definitely going to be worth it in the long term. So I got the cooler pack to pieces, and it's probably long overdue a clean and stuff anyway. So yeah, there's tons of rubber stuck in the front of this, so I'll make sure I'll be giving that a good blowout. Obviously you can see some of the fins have been still folded over from when it was on the front of the car. And here's the monster jag fan that helps keep the LSZ cool from Craig, PWM controlled, and it has transformed the cooler system of this. Yeah, seem to have found a fair bit of diff oil in there for when the breather blew off at Cadwell Park and started covering everything at the rear end in diff oil. So yeah, it's probably a good opportunity to get stuck in and also have a damn good clean around everything. So this is the job in hand. As you can see, this is there isn't a great deal of space here, but I want to sort of try and get it towards the bottom of the radiator as much as possible. Drill a little pilot hole so I can then use the cone drills again to open that one up. Purposely leaving the underside one here that is going to be blanked off until I've done all this, because then I can make sure as much swath has been taken out as possible. So yeah, time to get drilling, get cleaning, and then get the welder on. So there's the little patch made up, ground off as much as I can, just need a quick clean. Got the other side ready as well for the AN fitting. So yeah, a little bit of acetone on both of these, and then we'll get ready to stick them on. Hopefully the aluminium welding will go well this morning. Well, that's the patch on. Time to get the AN16 fitting on. So there's the first AN16 fitting on. Pretty happy with that. Definitely getting the hang of the aluminium welding a bit more now. So yeah, let that one cool down. Whilst I was doing that, I'm going to grab a coffee and a Kit Kat. Okay, so this is the water inlet now for the radiator. It is took a little while of cutting the old fitting off there, but yeah, unfortunately do have a couple of slight little gaps that we're going to have to fill on there, but I think that'll look nice and tidy when it's all done and dusted. Pretty happy with that one. Definitely need a bit more practice when the object isn't in the perfect position, but definitely getting the hang of it now. That's the cooler pack back in position. Got a couple of the AN fittings in there, if you can just about see the one across the front. That's now waiting for the new bracket to hold the John Davis Craig pump in position, so that'll hook into there. So now I've got the fun job of taking the engine out again, because I need to give Craig his engine crane back. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be coming back soon so we can sling it in there one more time. But yeah, I won't show you how we do that again, but yeah, make sure you